Hi. You're a little farther away than normal today because I am sitting at my dining room table and I'm gonna work on some plants that need a little love and because they've been a little bit neglected. And so I'm doing this while Jeff's gone so I don't have to hear him talk about me neglecting my plants. So anyway, I'm gonna trim them up a little bit and hopefully make them look pretty and get them sitting out again and maybe a little healthy because I got all the dead stuff trimmed off. So I thought I would do that and talk a little bit. So I hope you guys are having a good week. Hope your February is off to a good start. It's been a busy week for me for work, and I was very happy to see the weekend get here. Jeff is currently in Las Vegas with his brother and a friend. His brother's birthday is tomorrow, which is actually the day you'll see this. So he's coming back tomorrow. I'm going to pick him up at the airport, and I think they've had a good time. But Jeff said, when I talked to him one of these times, he said, you know, now that I've been here and done this, it's enough. And I can check it off my list and I don't have to go back again. So I would kind of like to go, you know, see it. And people watch, maybe, you know, see some of the shows. They went to see David Copperfield last night and had a good time with that. So I'm glad they did. That was a good thing. And of course they're having hopefully some good food from some of the restaurants out there. So anyway, I hope he's having a good time. And I miss him, but it's nice having the house to myself a little bit. I'm enjoying that. And sorry, I'm distracting myself. I was up early this morning, as sometimes I am, with the dog, and I was sitting on the couch about 4:30 watching a YouTube video of a lady that I like to watch that does food stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Nigella Lawson. She's awesome. And I love to watch her cook. And, you know, I love to watch shows like that where people are not perfect and they're messy when they cook and they're messy when they eat, but they just enjoy every bit of it. I love that. And she does that. And so I was watching that this morning and getting hungry. And I thought, you know, there are several things that I would like right now that I don't have because I need to go shopping. And so I did a Walmart pickup order that looks like a teenage kid got stuck at home, you know, alone. I don't know, maybe it's not that bad, but it, you know, I thought of all the things that I just would like to eat right then, which is terrible to do when you're hungry because, you know, I ended up with Cajun crab dip and Ruffles and some chocolate, some Dove chocolate, and a strawberry cheesecake, a little one. And I mean, you know, it's bad enough that I was indulgent that way. So small portions and everything, but just, I'll put a picture at the end. I took a picture and sent it to my sister. Not healthy at all, and I fully expect to pay for all of the indulgence, you know. So, but anyway, that's what I did at 4:30 this morning. So I've been puttering around the house today and doing some things, and I just have figured out that some of these little plants need some love. So I've covered my table. Sorry about all that noise. I've covered my table with some butcher paper. I would do this outside, but it's just too cold and windy to be comfortable, and so I'm just not going to do it. So anyway, I'm going to be playing with this while I talk to you, and maybe by the time we're done, I will have some healthy looking plants repotted and kind of fluffed up and freshened up. See, that's a sad little dead thing. And it's not the only one in here, unfortunately. So, it's coming out. So, this week, as I drive around, because I spend a lot of time in my car for work, and so I listened to some podcasts. And there's a new one that I started listening to. I don't know if I'll listen to it all the time. But I was listening to it yesterday, and she was interviewing, the interviewer is a Christian lady. Her name is Allie Stuckey, and she does a podcast, and she's written a book, and she's a conservative broadcaster, or whatever they're called. Anyway, very conservative, very outspoken, and she was interviewing a man who had struggled with homosexuality his whole life, basically, and eventually came to know Jesus. And but the interesting thing is, he continued to struggle with that even after he became a Christian. And he said that he had a very good mentor that gave him some really good advice. And this is the whole reason that I bring this up today, is because I just thought this statement that he made is so true. Whatever we struggle with, whether it's sexual orientation or an addiction or a relationship issue, whatever it is, this statement that his mentor made, it made all the difference in the world for him, and I think it would for us as well, because it just the focus of it makes a difference. And as he was talking to him, he was talking to his mentor about how much he continued to struggle and how frustrating it was. And his mentor said, "You are reaching for straightness as opposed to being gay. You're reaching for straightness." He said, "What you need to focus on is going from brokenness to wholeness in Jesus. And Jesus will take care of the rest of that." But you could spend hours and weeks and years talking about, the specifics of things and all of that. But I just thought, I listened to it again, I backed it up, and I thought, I need to hear that again. I need to hear that statement again. And, you're trying to go from gay to straight, and what you need to do is let Jesus take you from brokenness to wholeness. I thought, you know what? So many of us need to do that. I need to focus that way instead of a specific issue that we're dealing with. The lady that did this podcast wrote a book, and it is called "You're Not Enough, and That's Okay." And her premise is, and the more I think about it, the more I think this is true. We come very close to making idols of ourselves when we focus so much on our own self-worth and our own how much we want to tell ourselves that we are enough. And I understand what people mean when they say you're enough. and all of that. But we are very much a self-help people. We like to, sorry, I gotta move some stuff around here. We like very much to be able to read books about self-esteem and managing time and having life balance and being okay and being enough. And while we want people to be healthy and have good self-esteem and be strong and all of that, but sometimes maybe that focus on those things can get a little off-sided. You know what I mean? I'm trying real hard to take this little thing out of this planter without just popping dirt everywhere. So we'll see if I can do that. It's coming out one way or the other. It may just take a while. But anyway, back to the topic. I just couldn't help thinking about that. I've thought about it ever since I heard that podcast. I was just thinking, so many times people feel like they have to get their act together before they come to Jesus, and they have to stop doing whatever or start doing whatever before they can come to Jesus. And sometimes as Christians, we can make people feel that way. We can, we may not ever say it like that, but we can imply it in different ways, can't we? Well, you gotta, you need to come to church, and you need to stop doing this, and none of that is about coming to Jesus. They're all things that once you come to Jesus, He will work in your heart to get you where you need to be on all those other things. But Jesus never said, get your act together before you come to me for salvation. Because if that were the case, everything He did for salvation would be for nothing if we could do it ourselves. This is a good way to do a video when you don't like seeing yourself. I'm about to get it. I did have a little fling of dirt. I don't know if you saw that, but I did have a little fling of it here a minute ago. But we're gonna try to get this out of here. Man, it's got some big roots. It's been in here a while. All sort of analogies with that. Bad things take root in our lives, and it's hard to get them out, right? We let things stay too long, and we water them and feed them and give them a nice safe place to grow, and they just take root, and then it's hard to get them out. So we can make all kind of connections with that. But anyway, I thought, what a wonderful picture for us, and a reminder to just say, you know what, whatever it is you're dealing with and struggling with, it's not our place to take ourselves from broken to whole. Jesus does that. Jesus is where that healing comes from. Jesus is where the wholeness comes from. I did it. I feel very successful. Ooh. So now, I'm not saying that if you have issues with depression or mental health issues and you need medicine, I'm not saying don't take it. Not at all. I'm also not saying if therapy is helpful for you, I'm not saying don't take that either. Because, you know, Scripture tells us anything that's good is from God. So we don't have to be afraid of those things. And I think we need to use them when we need them. We go to doctors when we need them. We go to hospitals when we need to. But I think we always have to keep in mind that healing, Jesus uses earthly folks and medicine and all of that to heal our bodies and our minds, but the healing always comes from Him. So, and here's the other thing about that. We are, I think when we get so focused on ourselves, you know, like all the self-help things out there, with all the clever sayings and all the clever wording that we have, and some of it's really good, but we were never meant to be so self-focused. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't pay attention to yourself and what you need, but I am saying that if every waking moment we are just focused on how can I be better, or how can I do this better, and how can I be, more successful and more whatever, that when that focus shifts to us, to ourselves, so much so that we focus on that more than we focus on God and prayer and reading Scripture, that's going to be a problem. We don't need to be the center of our own universe. We don't need to be our own center. One of the things that Allie says in this book is, if the self is the problem, the self can't also be the solution. That is true. We can't fight our own battles against ourselves by ourselves, you know? Jesus has to be our center. He is our safe place. He is our protection. He's our peace. But we've got to look to Him. We have to keep our eyes on Him for that. If we're in therapy, that's awesome. But we need to incorporate good therapeutic principles into our lives that are already centered in Jesus. So, anyway, I don't want to get too preachy there, but just some thoughts that I've had this week. Because when we're centered on Jesus and His grace and forgiveness and the power He has in our lives, that is hopeful, and it's encouraging, and it's good. When we just sit around and kind of navel gaze and wonder, about our higher selves and all of that mess, that is not a peaceful thing. It's not going to be peaceful for very long. And we're going to have to keep going back and doing the same things over and over again, because we can't keep that up. We can't be the center and the foundation. That has to come from something outside ourselves. So anyway, just some thoughts about that. Don't know what you may be struggling with right now, or somebody that you know maybe is struggling. But if you have a chance to maybe just think about, instead of going from addiction to sobriety or whatever it is, anger to peace, think about it in terms of going from brokenness to wholeness, and let Jesus be the foundation of that and the beginning of that. It takes a lot of pressure off of us to do something that we were never meant to do for ourselves, So anyway, I am going to carry on with these plants and see if I can't get them nice and pretty, and then maybe actually water everything and see if I can keep them alive. But I'm glad you guys came back today. The little English lady that I like to watch on YouTube, when she opens her videos, she always says, "Hello, YouTube friends," in her little British accent that I won't try to mimic. And I thought that's always just such a nice little way to open, "Hello, YouTube friends." So I may just steal that from her and start to do that. She also says funny things, like if she's trying something and it doesn't work, she'll say, "Well, I tried that, but it wasn't, it didn't turn out good. But hey ho." So, hey ho. She's a firm believer in trying and having fun while you do it. And I think that's good. I think that's wonderful. So anyway, I'm going to carry on with my plants, and I will post you a picture of the total junk food fest that I bought today. And, the only thing I didn't get was Pepto-Bismol for the stomachache I'm probably going to have from it. I'm not going to eat that much. I have a lot of time. Anyway, you guys have a good week this week. Next week, I will come to you from Lakeland, Florida. Next Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, but more importantly, it's my dad's 88th birthday. And so most of us will be together down there celebrating with him. And, we're going to have to pull for Philadelphia. I don't even know who else is playing. But there are a lot of former Alabama players playing for Philadelphia. So that's probably who we're going to be rooting for while we eat junk food. So we're going to have fun. But anyway, I'll send you we'll do a little video from there next week. And I hope that this week, in the meantime, is good for you. I hope that you remember that Jesus is your foundation and your security and the way to wholeness and healing, whatever it is that you're dealing with right now. Have a wonderful week. Splash in the grace, because it's all around us, and God is very generous with it. So you take as much as you need. It never runs out. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.